Hi guys, it's Rob here with another database tutorial, and we're going to keep moving forward. So except for grouping, when we're grouping, we cannot combine the column name with an SQL built-in function. Built-in function, right? So if we say select job, comma, count star from data, this is going to give us an error. Right? Because we selected count star without grouping, and count, remember, was one of the 5 built-in functions. Remember? Sum, average, count, min, max. So, moving forward, an SQL expression is basically a formula or set of values that determines the exact results of an SQL query. Now we have the concatenation operator. And remember, we're focusing on Oracle implementation, so that's going to be your double bar. Oops, that was supposed to be an underline, not a cross out. Rows can be grouped, right, according to column values by using the SQL group by clause. Using the SQL group by clause. Okay. Next, when we're using the SQL group by clause, so when using group by, only the column or columns in the group by expression and the SQL built-in functions can be used in the select clause, right? So we could only select built-in functions and then column name, or whatever we group by, so group by blank. Those are the only columns that can be selected, whatever we group by. We can't select something that we didn't group by or isn't being affected by an aggregate function. So just that's really important. Okay, and we said we were going to mention having later on. Well, now we're mentioning having. The having clause restricts the groups that are presented in the result. And so the having is basically the where clause of the group by clause, right? But there's a distinction. Having specifies groups, and after having is when you put any restrictions that contain built-in functions, because you can't put them in the where clause, remember. So that's a very key distinction. Now, a second select statement enclosed in parentheses is called a subquery. So if we have select blank from blank where blank in select, and then we keep going with our select statement, this is a subquery. And remember, we would use this in keyword when we have 3 or more and or conditions, right? But it would be too time consuming to keep typing that out. So this is called a nested query, this whole thing together. This with all of this is called a nested query, and that's where we're going to leave off for the next tutorial. Nested query. See you guys in the next